This is funny, man. My name is Audiophiliac, also known as Steve Guttenberg. You could address me either way. But today I'm making a video reluctantly about the MoFi, the mobile fidelity controversy. How pure analog are their transfers to LP? I guess that's the reigning rage of what's going down, right? Somehow they've been revealed as being less than pure analog recorded, analog mixed, analog mastered. Maybe some of those MoFis are not 100% all analog. And that gets a lot of people pissed. They feel like they've been misled. Okay, if that's how you feel and that's what it turns out to be the truth, then sell off your MoFis and go buy those records from some other label. But whatever, I'm just saying I don't relate. I don't. Now, I've been to some mastering sessions, actually never a MoFi mastering session, but I went to this one from Classic Records. It was for Jimi Hendrix' Band of Gypsies, recorded here in New York City at Fillmore East. One of my favorites. I love that. It's so different. It's a different kind of Jimi Hendrix, especially compared to the other records that were out at the time. So anyway, I love that record. When I was invited to this remastering to LP, I was all in. I said, yeah, and better yet, Jimi Hendrix's engineer, Eddie Kramer, was present, and the mastering engineer was the legendary George Marino. So yes, it was going to be great. And as a matter of fact, when I arrived at Sterling Sound, where this took place, the actual master tape wasn't yet there. They said it's on its way, and I said, okay, so we chit-chatted, and then a messenger arrived and actually handed me the box with the Band of Gypsies master tape. Okay, yeah, here it is, wow. And I walked over to Eddie Kramer and said, here it is this your writing on the box? And he said, yeah. So they take out the tape, spool it up, George Marino and Eddie Kramer listen, they discuss, they chat, they figure out what they're going to do, and then they actually cut the lacquer right in front of me, and other press people were at the session as well. And it was thrilling. It was thrilling to hear it coming over the speakers as the lacquer was being cut, and I walked over to the lathe and watched, it was very, very cool. But anyway, over the hours that I was there, I peppered Eddie Kramer with a lot of questions, such as, when you were doing these records in the first place, was Jimi Hendrix obsessive about the quality of the transfer? Did he have to approve the master? Did he have to approve a test pressing? And he said, no, it wasn't like that then. We were on to a million other things by the time the record came out. So it's not like now where no, not at all. He was definitive about that. No, we were doing many different things. So it didn't occur to them to be checking every little detail to make sure it was 100% exactly what Jimmy wanted. So that was interesting. But anyway, I really feel that the people who were raging about the MoFi controversy, it's a purity test for them. It's not the end result. It's not these records that they already own, that they like the sound of. Now they find out that they're not 100% analog, and now they don't like them anymore. Or it's been tainted by the truth has come out that there was some digital processing involved in making this transfer, and that's contaminating the LP. Or something. Now, if you feel that way, if you feel betrayed by MoFi, that you thought it was one thing and it turns out to be another thing, and you're done, okay, I get that. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I can never argue with someone's feelings. I can just say the end result of the process that they did to make those one steps, like the fantastic Santana Braxis. If you like Santana Braxis before, and now you're not so sure, well, that's kind of weird. That's the main point of today's rant by me, is if you liked it before, deal with it. The whole thing with people buying these things and then selling them for a lot more, and there's just like trading and stuff, it's like, that's a whole other thing that I don't want to be a part of at all. But I have this other story. First of all, this obsession about the master, as if there was one master to a specific recording, Santana Braxis, or whatever, Steely Dan's Gaucho or Asia, whatever. Is there like the master? No, because originally there was a session tape and there were mix downs and stuff like that, and then they created a master, but then they created other masters for other purposes, and one went to Japan and one went to Germany. There's a lot of masters floating around. It's not like really the one. And matter of fact, this is a really funny story that I guess it was in the early 2000s that the 1960s Rolling Stones albums were all going to come out on SACD. They didn't actually control those recordings anymore. The Stones did not. Their manager, their former manager, Alan Klein, and his company ABCO controlled the early output Rolling Stones up to about 1970 or so. So anyway, they were going to put out these SACDs, and they wanted them to sound as good as they possibly could. But the Rolling Stones masters were spread out all over the world. There were dozens and dozens of them. And these were a lot of records because there was the US version of the records and the UK version of the records. So it turned out to be like a number of about 20 or so albums because a lot of them were duplicates, UK and US. But anyway, there was a woman, Jody. Anyway, she worked for ABCO. She was an engineer, and she was tasked with bringing all of those masters back to New York City, and she was going to listen to all of them and compare them to original UK pressings and original US pressings and figure out which were not the best ones, but the better ones. And then I think Mick Jagger came in and Keith came in and also lent an ear and decided, yeah, we like this one more than that one, and that's what they did. And that's what was used as the source material to produce the SACDs. But the point is that there wasn't like a definitive beggar's banquet master locked away safely in a vault and say, that is the one. No, not for most recordings. I mean, another one that was really funny, by the way, is that when Tommy, the Who's Tommy record came out on SACD and DVD audio, it was supervised by Pete Townsend himself. And I think it may have been one of the rare occurrences where it came out on an album came out simultaneously on SACD and DVD audio, supervised by Pete Townsend. And as I recall, because it was a long time ago, the channels were reversed left to right on one of them. I forget which one was the right one and the wrong one, SACD or DVD audio. But the point is, even when the man himself was running the show and supervising, he got it wrong. So the purity test, the faithfulness of this is the truth about what's in this recording. And I'm going to leave you with one more. And that is Rudy Van Gelder, who cut so many legendary sessions for Blue Note and other labels. And he would be the recording engineer, and he would also cut the lacquer of the session that he just recorded here the same day as the session itself. The sessions were usually 3 or 4 hours. And he would cut them. And some people will say, well, that's the truth. Those Rudy Van Gelder first pressings of those Blue Notes, that's it. Everything else is wrong, right? That's the truth. That's how Rudy wanted it to sound. But that's not, what he put on the records was not literally a copy of the master tape. He had to work within the limitations of the time in terms of what phono cartridges could track in terms of dynamics and bass and how much bass you put in a groove and all that stuff. He had to finesse what was on the tape and wind up on the vinyl, on those LPs that he personally cut. So should other mastering engineers in decades since be limited to what he did then? Should they try to copy what Rudy did? Or should they say, no, the actual tape itself sounds so much better than what Rudy could put on vinyl back in the day? And that is always the quandary, that the mastering engineer's job is to make it sound good or great, right? Because if you think about it, the reason they have the gig, this specific mastering engineer, male or female, the reason they have the gig is because they have a track record of doing good transfers, right? Okay, so you're buying their taste, their judgment calls about what they did to take that master tape, assuming it was an analog master tape, and make it and transfer that into a vinyl record. That's it. And actually, whether it's a vinyl record or a CD or a file or anything, that's what mastering engineers do. They make judgment calls about what this music should sound like. That's it. Not a copy. Not really a copy of the master itself. An interpretation of it. Let's put it that way. So getting back to the MoFi brouhaha, where do you stand? I want to know. Are you upset? Could you care less? I think I'm much closer to the I could care less group. But of course, if you feel annoyed or pissed off or ripped off or anything, I want to hear about it. And what are you going to do with those MoFis that you're now displeased with? What's going to happen to them? Of course, if everybody starts dumping them all at the same time, they're going to lose their value. They're going to fall like a rock. So that's a concern. Anyway, I wish MoFi well. I like the people there that I know. And I think this is just going to blow over like most things. And by the way, I don't know if you've noticed, the world is so many truly awful things are happening in the world that for people to get pissed off about this right now, it's kind of weird. As they say, I'm just saying. Should there be an audiophiliac viewer system of the day to lighten our load right now? Is that what we need? I think so. So here it is, the audiophiliac viewer system of the day. This one came in from Kevin. He lives in Suffolk, England. He is a former Celestion technician. Celestion, the speaker company. Anyway, here's what he's got. On that rack at the top is a TIAC P30 transport, a benchmark DAC 1, a Meridian 556 power amp, a quad Artera preamp, a Meridian 557 power amp, balanced XLR Tellurium cables. Speaker cables are AudioQuest Rocket 22 and Russ Andrew power cables. His speakers, he has two sets there. The smaller ones are Falcon LS35As, and the larger are Spender Classic 2/3 with isoacoustics feet. Thank you, Kevin. Alrighty, we are back. Again, my name is Audiophiliac, aka Steve Guttenberg. Thank you so much for watching. If you dig what I do, please check out my Patreon and subscribe to the channel. And oh, if you like what I do, hit the like button. Very, very important to the algorithm here on YouTube, and therefore very important to me. So if you want to help out the videos that you like, hit the button. And with that, I can say thank you again for watching, and I really, really, really do hope to see you back here again very, very soon.